difficulty in Souls games has always been a point of discussion that it's always so polemic. There's always this discussion on should we have an easy mode on this kind of games, on Souls games. I personally believe that Souls games should not have an easy mode, because at the end of the day, the challenge that Souls titles have is what separates them from the bunch, from the rest of the games. That's a specific signature that those games have. Now, on the other hand, accessibility and difficulty are so much different from one to another. Elden Ring laid the foundations with so many things that you could do to make the game easier to yourself, but also you can always find this kind of people that is going to tell you that you are not good enough at a specific game because you are not playing it the way they want you to play, as you can see in the picture that I just showed. Now, if we actually do follow that specific pipeline, then you could say, if you follow that logic, then you could say that those persons claiming that are not as good at the game, they have not really beat the game, if they did not make it with a Guitar Hero guitar, like many other people have. It's all about the challenge that you decide to place upon yourself, but at the end of the day, the accessibility tools that developers place on their games without changing the core essence of it all, that's what makes the difference. And oh boy, how long did they actually take that kind of let's say, that kind of pipeline and place it in their game to make it altogether more enjoyable for Wolong. So in today's video we're going to be discussing about that, the accessibility that Wolong gives to you, and why is this game going to be for everybody to play and to enjoy. So first and foremost, the combat. Now, there is a huge difference, there is a huge signature that, for example, From Software titles have that focus on lore, as well as the world building, as well as the combat. I have to say that Neo games do not particularly excel on the level design, nor the story, nor everything else, because what they are masters in is the combat. That flow of combat, that it's always so goddamn amazing. Now, the very first topic that we're going to take and to discuss about, and to why is this so amazingly good for every single one of you to enjoy, is magic. Magic, ever since Demon's Souls, has been seen as the easy mode, quote unquote, easy mode of the game. It is highly advisable that if you are just starting out on a Souls game and you're not a Souls veteran, your first playthrough, it's probably a good idea to do it as a mage, because mages are always so overpowered in this kind of games. That is also true for Dark Souls trilogy, for Elden Ring, and for Neo as well. If you are a new player on Neo and you actually want to have an easier time with the game, then you should take Omnio Magic as your main build, because magic, it's always so powerful. It gives you space between you and the enemy. You don't actually have to mind that much the enemy skeleton, the enemy patterns, nor everything that makes this so difficult. Now, are you bad at the game for doing so? Of course not. You are just using the tools that the game provides to you, and the game still maintains that degree of challenge. And if you are able to overcome those challenges and difficulties that you have in front of you by making a mage or by using that playstyle, then you are in your entire right to do so. I have seen so many times people complaining about how overpowered mages were on the launch of Elden Ring, and that they claim that if you did not manage to beat the game as a single-handed warrior without any kind of summons, you did not actually beat the game. Then I believe I call that BS. Because if you manage to defeat the game with the tools provided to you by From Software, then you did play the game, you finished the game, and you are as good as anyone else that beat the game on their very own playstyle and playthrough choices. Now, that brings us the other kind of accessibility feature. To properly build a mage in this kind of games, well, before we get into that, in this game you can be a mage if without actually worrying too much about making that mage viable, because that is also something that ties to the next point. To be able to make a proper mage, you need to understand the little systems and mechanics and level systems that actually do hold a learning curve. Now in this game, you can be a mage while still maintaining your warrior. Every single class and build is going to be able to use mages. Oh boy, every single one of your characters is going to be able to cast spells. Amazingly enough, magic in this kind of games looks so goddamn beautiful on all of those spells that you can cast upon the enemy, and you look deadly, and you feel powerful, as you should feel by making a mage. Souls titles, for you to make a proper mage, you needed to understand those little systems that you had in front of you, and if you did not understand those little systems, those mechanics, those stats leveling up, you would probably mess up your mage real bad and still performing poorly on the game because you didn't build properly your character, and then you had to go to YouTube and watch a mage build if you are able to respec, which is something that you are not able to do in Dark Souls 1, for example. But if you're playing the later entries of the game, you actually manage to unlock respec, which actually you do unlock at later stages of the game, so you did have to struggle before changing your playstyle character and build to fit that playstyle. In this case scenario, the system, leveling system, it's a little bit more diluted. I cannot speak for the rest of the mechanics because crafting is also something very important in character building for Neo games and Team Ninja's games, and but since we can see the armors in the game, they are still like that kind of looter feeling that this game has. You are still going to need to have some knowledge upon crafting, but with the base leveling system, oh boy, it's amazing. All you have to do to properly build a character, I will be discussing this in depth on different videos, on future videos, but for now, rest assured, if you want to make a build, a proper build, all you have to do is dump all of your points in one of the single classes that you have. You have 5 different stats. One focuses on being a warrior, one focuses on being a kind of a cleric, a support character, another in defense, another in stealth, and another on debuff or spell casting. A little bit more focused spell casting, but remember that every single class in this game has the ability to cast spells. Casting spells in this game is going to make your life so much easier than what you can imagine. So having the possibility to just dump all of your points into fire, and you're making a warrior, and you are a warrior, but you feel like you're struggling, then you play some fire spells out there, which looks amazing, by the way, or the lightning that you can throw with that kind of branch for a character. It's just so goddamn amazing, and you don't actually have to mind about vigor or adaptability or luck or all of those stats that you see in front of you that you do not fully understand. They are just there, the 5 stats, and you place points in there and you're all set up. All you have to do is just level them up and your character is going to become deadlier and deadlier. It also simplifies character hybrid builds, because let's say, for example, again, fire, it's for warriors, and then you have the wind, I believe, do not quote me on this, but it's the green stat, which is going to be focusing on healing capabilities and buffing capabilities. So if you want to make a hybrid, all you have to do is place points there and in fire evenly, and right there you have a paladin. The green stat is for a cleric, the red stat is for a warrior. If you mix those 2 stats right there, you have a paladin, a cleric warrior. Or you, let's say for example that you like a more of a tanky build, you can place all of your points into earth, and you will still be dealing decent amounts of damage while still maintaining that high survivability. And if you want to make a tank that is also exceedingly good at warrior, place points into earth and place points into fire evenly, and there you have it. And remember that the most amazing part about this soul is that you will still be able to cast spells which are so goddamn powerful in this kind of games that are just going to make your life so much easier, which leads us to the next point. In Elden Ring we had Spirit Ashes, but Spirit Ashes and summoning your friends or characters or NPCs, also for Neo games, they were restricted to specific areas and situations. You were not able to summon every single one of your friends whenever you wanted to. There were some requirements that you need to meet to be able to properly summon some help. Remember the Mimic Tia from Elden Ring or Black Knife Tiche? And they were just so goddamn amazing, and it was your choice to use them, and no one can tell you that you did not beat a boss by using all of those tools provided to you. But again, in Elden Ring they were restricted to you. In Neo you were able to summon NPCs as well, but after a period of time they would disappear, and more often than not, by the time that you reach the boss fight, the NPC was halfway there or halfway the time that it needed to go away, so you would be left up trying to face again a boss that's in front of you single-handed. Now in Wolong you will be able to summon an NPC if you do not have any friends, and if you want to play the game solo without having to rely on your friends, because even while you do have friends, maybe they don't have the same time as you and they are not doing the same missions as you are doing. Now in this case scenario you will be able to summon an NPC that is going to be strong, that is going to be durable, and that is going to help you to carry on through those situations so smoothly. And it's going to feel amazing, because if you are familiar with literature or history and mythology, and you like the romance of the Three Kingdoms, and you know the main characters, I do not know which ones are going to be the heroes that we will be able to summon to our side and which ones are going to be bosses, because in the demo, do not quote me on this, but I believe that we have Shang Fei as a boss in that specific demo, which was a hero, considered a hero, but you also had Xiao Yun, which was an NPC that you would be able to summon. And this NPC, these heroes that build a sense of identity with you because they are fighting by your side throughout the entirety of the level, and trust me, they are going to survive. Once you get to another flag, aka bonfire, they are healed as well, so you could potentially have all of these characters, heroes, mythic heroes by your side, and they are going to help you, and they are never going to go away unless they die, which is highly unlikely if you are working in a synergy, because again, remember, they are going to be healed when you rest, and they are going to accompany you through the entirety of the level. Now, that being said, you build a sense of identity, because like again, if you are familiar with this kind of mythology and culture, imagine being able to fight alongside Ma Kao or Liu Bei. Hell, one of my favorite characters is Xiao Yun, and we were able to experience him in the demo, and you synergize it between each other, and there were some situations where Xiao Yun saved me from his fatal blow, and I was like, bro, bro, you are my pal. And you build that sense of identity because you feel fond of that character. Now, that being said, I did play 2 different playthroughs in this game. Well, I have played so many playthroughs in the demo because I've just been having a blast with this game. But the very first one, as you were able to see in the footage that I have in the background, I personally perceive myself as a skilled player, and it's not even that I'm a skilled player. I have just been playing Souls games ever since Dark Souls in 2011. So I have practice. That's what I have, and I am not a good player, but I have practice, and I know that I have to adapt to situations, to learn the skeleton of the bosses, of the mini bosses, to learn how to rely on their movesets rather than my reflexes, because my reflexes suck. I am not a good player, again, but I know how to adapt to all of those movesets and adapt myself to those situations. When I play by myself and I overcome those challenges, I feel rewarded. but it is stressful. I will not lie to you. It is stressful to have to die once, twice, and more and more and more to a specific enemy, mini-boss, or boss to try to beat it. It can be frustrating to some people, and some people do not want to experience that. But I do. Me as a personal player, I like to feel rewarded by being able to overcome those situations. So, my first playthrough was just by myself. I did everything by myself, and as you can see, I am molesting this little mini-boss that we have on the very beginning of the game. He did handed my ass too much to me at the very beginning, but I did manage to learn all of his movesets, and now I am molesting him. But I needed to die so many times to it. I'm not a good player, I just adapted myself. Not everyone is willing to waste that time and that. So, if you do not want to do that, you can take all of these accessibility features that Wolong has to offer to you and just nuke through the entirety of it all, and it's still going to feel amazing. It's still going to be gorgeous. The animations, dude, all of those kind of battle flows, and you are feeling like a deadly dancer, and the animations are just so well crafted that you could let Xiao Yun tank everything else. And since you are a warrior that can cast spells, if you are feeling overwhelmed by a specific mini-boss or by a specific enemy, you can just held yourself back and provide support to the main person that is accompanying you, and the flow of battle is still going to feel amazing. You are still going to feel rewarded by playing this thing because it makes you feel like that. Again, you have magic. Every single one of your characters is going to have magic, and it's going to be efficient magic. You will be able to build that amazingly powerful character without having to think too much about it, and you will be able to summon NPCs that are strong enough that will accompany you through the entirety of the game, and all you have to do is just lay back and be their homie. And by being their homie, they are going to reward you with this synergy between the NPC and you, where you're going to feel like you have that attachment to that character, because it makes everything so much easier while you're casting spells, while you take some time to breathe, while you take some time to deal extra damage, and then he's going to take the aggro to let you heal. And it didn't actually feel like it changed my whole experience. I just felt like from one playthrough to another, I felt like I had more tools, and if the game provided to me those tools, it was just going to be amazing. The ultimate accessibility part about it all is that this game is going to be on Game Pass. So, if you find this conversation useful, I would very much like to invite you person that is afraid of playing Souls titles because they are always so very goddamn difficult, try Wolong. It's not going to cost you that much if you play it on Game Pass. And the amount of accessibility features that you have right here, you have so many tools for you to enjoy this game, and it's not going to be that challenging to you. You can make this game as challenging as you want. It's not going to change the difficulty, but it's going to be easier for every single one of you, and everyone is going to be able to enjoy this game. And I believe that this is the right path that Souls games should take. Not change the difficulty, but give tools to the player to be able to overcome all of those difficulties. If you like the information, if you like to have these conversations with RPJames, I would very much like to invite you, like always, to hit the like button because it really helps me like you have no idea. And remember that if no one has told you today that you're a gorgeous and beautiful person, you are indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous and beautiful people in the next one. Goodbye.